You want to sit there? It gives a picnic vibe, right?
Yeah, it does. Feels like magic to me right now.
Walking a bit ahead, you will see the actual pieces of the Berlin Wall. The area was turned into a huge wasteland with dead strips. 100,000 East Germans tried to flee the country, but most of them were shot dead. This is the exact replica of the US Army checkpoint that was situated here. This side of the checkpoint was used by the Americans, and this side was the Soviet Union, and they both were facing their tanks at each other during that time. The generals or the high-ranking officials were only allowed to pass. Hello and welcome everyone to a refreshing new day here in Frankfurt. Today we are making our way to another city of Germany, which is going to be Berlin. We are now checked out of our hotel and are heading towards the central train station of Frankfurt, from where we will catch our Eurorail, which will take us to Berlin in about 4 hours or so. We loved it the 2 days that we spent here, so I think it was a lovely time spent here in Frankfurt.
Welcome to the central station of Frankfurt, and let us head inside to grab a bite and also board our train. And our train was delayed for about an hour. We waited in the food court. Let's see how our journey would be. We are now in Berlin. I can't believe we finished that long journey. I was just waiting to reach the station. It's so vast. Wow.
And the station is huge.
I love how many layers they have. It seems like they have a lot to shop and eat. Hello and welcome to a brand new day here with us in Berlin, Germany. Let's head out and start our day with a tour of Big Bus. Not Paris, Berlin. So let us go and get the views of Berlin and see what's so special about the hustling, bustling city here in Germany. So let's go.
Oh, that's the one written over there, Alexanderplatz.
Yep, that's what I was saying.
So this place is kind of like a shopping district here. Like we have TK Maxx over here, we have Uniqlo and many other retail outlet stores as well. Just right next to the park-in by Radisson, you can see the burning fancy term. I think that's what it is called. It means the Berlin Television Tower. That's what it meant in English. So it is one of the tallest towers in Germany over here. So if you want the panoramic views of Berlin, that's the place that you can go to. So we have our big bus just right here. So let's hop inside and start our Berlin city tour. Let's go.
So behind me is our first stop of the day, and it is Brandenburg Gate. This is one of the most iconic places to visit in Berlin.
This was probably built in the 18th centuries. Like it was built as a symbol of division between the East and the West here in Berlin, but now it stands for unity and peace. So now we are making our way towards the Reichstag, which is the place for Germany's imperial diet. And I think it's about there. So we're just gonna cross this path and looks like a movie's fairy tale, right? Walking between the woods. And he's playing Another Love. So a quick fact about this building is that until 1933 it served as an imperial diet for the Germans. Before it was like, after that it was set on fire, the whole building, during the Second World War. And it was just the ruins that were left, and it was rebuilt by the year 1999. And from the dome that you can see on the top, I think that is ticketed area. So from there you can get a 360-degree views of the surrounding Berlin cityscapes as well. So the views, I'm sure, must be amazing, but we are not going there yet, and we are making our way towards our second stop, or the next stop for the day. So if we talk about the tickets for this bus tour, We booked it online, but obviously you can come at one of these places like the pavilions, shopping centers, and you can see the kiosk for buying the tickets itself, or you can buy it at your hotel as well. I think some of the hotels provide the tickets for these, along with the train stations as well. I saw that on the main Berlin train station where we came from, and it costed us around 29 euros per person, which is, I think, a good thing. That's around 50 Australian dollars. I mean, so not bad.
So behind me is Berlin Cathedral or Berliner Dom. The dome is because there's a dome on top, and it is approximately 75 meters tall, which is pretty fantastic because it was built in 1845, but it was only completed in 1905,
it was built
right?
in 1465.
1465, okay, I'm wrong. Wow. So it must have been a fantastic parish church to be a part of, but right now it is used as a museum, like a part of it.
So currently we are at the Museum Island. So it is called the Museum Island because there are many museums over there surrounding this place. As you can see, the one right there. So that's the hop on hop off bus, the place where we got dropped off. And this church was destroyed probably during the World War and was later reconstructed and then reopened again in 1993, I guess. Pretty amazing. Like we can't go inside to the top right now because I think it's closed for construction. As you can see right there, most of the buildings are under construction. I don't know, they're doing some maintenance or sort of thing, but obviously we just went to the downstairs and it's not much to see over there. And you've got a place like kind of a park thing to sit over here and relax. So this is the Altus Museum. This is the museum for sculptures, paintings. If anybody is interested in that, then should definitely have a look. Some street artists just right here. And it's kind of giving me a picnic type vibe. I don't know why, but pretty amazing. They want to sit there? It gives a picnic vibe, right?
Yeah, it does. So Berliner Dom is divided in 3 sections. As a church, it has the nuptial and baptismal as a one section. The second section is memorial, and the third section is the parish church. I have never seen a church divided in the way, like so elegantly, I would say. Like all the sections are divided. It's nice to see.
And you can see it by this.
Yeah, that's what the 3 domes represent. Which I didn't think about before, but now that I know the history, it makes sense. I love it. I love the vibe. Like, this place feels like amazing. It feels like magic to me right now.
So we have now reached Potsdamer Platz, which in English is a plaza or a square. Now you can call it anything you like. So it's one of the main squares, but after the fall of Berlin Wall, it has been taken over by restaurants and entertainment hubs. Walking a bit ahead, you will see the actual pieces of the Berlin Wall, which are just right behind me over there. So let's go and have a look. One is over here right now. So that's a part of the Berlin Wall.
So they still maintain this ridge where the wall used to be.
Yeah, so this is the part where the wall used to be. If you can see right here, I'll show you. If you go across, it was built in 1961 and demolished in 1989. So this line that you can see, so the Berlin Wall was built on this straight line over here. So the square that you see right here, Potsdamer Platz, which is surrounded by hotels, restaurants and shops, was one of the most busiest squares in Europe. And after Berlin was occupied by the powers of the Second World War, which was the British, the Soviet Union and the Americans, so the square that we are standing right now was devastated and it was ruined, like in all.
It was actually deserted and trains and underground tunnels were closed off.
The area was turned into a huge wasteland with death strips.
It was. And
the barriers.
What's so sad is that not only that the area died, they trains that used to pass by stopped stopping at these stops. So it used to go non-stop from east to west Berlin until recently. This area was rejuvenated, and as you can see, it's a hip square, I would say.
And this is the actual Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was in fact a wide corridor between the two walls, where one wall marked as the border and the second wall closed off the corridor to the east, and between that was the death strip, which included a narrow path for the border guards to lay in between. So kind of like you know, the borders of the country, where one side belongs one country, the other side the other, and the no man's land in between, where the border where the guards are. And it was 160 kilometers long wall. And you can see the demolition of the church that's situated at the border strip over here. And this is what the wall looked like in action. And when this wall was constructed in 1961, probably 100,000 East Germans tried to flee the country, but they were not able to. Hundreds of them were you know, wounded, and most of them were shot dead by the East German soldiers when they were trying to flee the country or trying to escape from the East Germany. So kind of a sad story, but that's the harsh reality of the world, the past and the today's world that we live in as well.
Yeah, many places today are still going through similar situation, which I think we should have learned from 50 years ago.
Berlin, I don't know what to say, but obviously this was bound to happen because it was the center of the World War II. Pretty amazed, right? How they have you know, reconstructed the whole thing back together after the fall of the wall.
Yeah, it's amazing how they took on the projects and made it into something so beautiful. They call this wasteland, and if this wasteland could be transformed into this just in a short span of 40 years, I would say it's
like
really...
Look at the buildings over here. And if we continue walking straight along the path of the Berlin Wall, we'll reach the checkpoint Charlie, one of the famous checkpoints here in Berlin, where the Americans and the Soviet Union's tanks used to face each other. So that's called the checkpoint Charlie, and it's about like 1200 meters from here if we follow this path over here for the Berlin Wall.
We are now at an interesting point called Checkpoint Charlie. If you've read anything about the history of Berlin and Germany, this was the actual place where East and West Germany were divided. That was the checkpoint over there.
So let us show you how it looks like, and then we'll go in the history a little.
Oh my god, the history is so detailed. So this was the actual checkpoint that segregated the east and west part of Germany, and I think it was inside that, but
so
this is the only thing that is left.
So these racks and they were filled with sand, all these racks, but now they have been cemented, and this is a replica of the actual checkpoint because of the, like, I don't know what, like it was broken or something. So this is the exact replica of the US Army checkpoint that was situated here. So this checkpoint Charlie was one of the best known border crossing between the East Berlin and the West Berlin during the Cold War, and at around 1961 this side of the checkpoint was used by the Americans and this side was the Soviet Union, and they both were facing their tanks at each other during that time. And this checkpoint is one of the most visited and one of the most iconic places to visit here in Berlin as well. Like, it has a lot of visitors coming through every day at this point. So this is the side of the Soviet Union. So as it says over here, you are entering the American sector carrying weapons of duty, forbidden, and obey the traffic rules. My god, this place has a really vast history, and it's really amazing, like, to see these places here in Berlin. So in 1961, the conflict between the East and the West Berlin came to a head, and the borders were closed up from, like, the closure of the border was done to the western sectors, and the movement was only allowed from a few points, with the Charlie checkpoint being one of those from where the people could pass from East to the West Berlin, but not the normal residents, only, as I told you, the generals or the high-ranking officials were only allowed to pass. So this is the whole story behind it, and this is how the checkpoint used to look like in 1961. I think it's 28th of October 1961. So this is a picture of the youth of the West Berlin after the 18-year-old Peter Fetcher was shot by the East Berlin border guards at this checkpoint Charlie. And they also abused the American guards because they didn't go for the aid of that 18-year-old boy to save his life. And over here as well you can see the marks of the Berlin Wall. The same line that stretched for 160 kilometers. So I think this is a better understanding from the map. So we are right now just at the checkpoint Charlie. This side was with the US and this side with the Soviet Union, and this is all of the Berlin West that you can see, and the red lines that you can see over here, this is going all across the map. That is the Berlin Wall, which was erected in year 1961. So this was the checkpoint from where the borders, actually the high-ranking officials were only allowed to cross the borders from here, from the US to the Soviet Union and back and forth. And this is what was this?
So this is the replication of how they would put the Berlin Wall. Like,
this is the actual part of the Berlin Wall.
so can you see that on top? That thing is the thing stopping people from climbing over. This thing was like stone with metal on top, so if you wanted to climb over the wall and go to from east to the west side, it would be impossible. And also this wall has steel inside it, so if someone was trying to ram it in from the east to cross to the west, they would not be able to.
And it was, the design of this barrier was changed 4 times actually.
Yeah, because the wall kept on being knocked over, but in 1989 this wall was finally removed, and this side of the wall was also painted, and also the east side. So we're still on the west, no, we're on the east side. So I think on the west side there are shops, but on this side it's been painted with a lot of paintings.
It was done after the wall fell on the 9th of November 1989, when this wall was demolished, yeah. Or it fell actually.
And with that, our day in Berlin has come to an end. We are back to where we started our day from, and it was amazing. We had so much fun. The food that we ate throughout the day was scrumptious. I'm so happy we went out and explored the city.
The dinner was amazing though.
It was. I did not expect good food, good Indian food here, but I was surprised, taken aback, quite frankly. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching,
And
we
see you
will
guys in the next one.